Good morning, all. As we enter into this virtual service, please note you have been muted by our host. If you wish to speak during announcement and/or joys and concerns, please go to the participants icon, click on the raise hand button. A blue hand will appear by your name. When I call on you, you can then hit the unmute me button and speak. Click on lower hand button and the mute me button when you are finished. Remember, do not unmute yourself until I call on you. Thank you. If you hear a high-pitched sound, please note that it is not your computer, and please pardon any inconvenience this may cause. Also, if you are not already in speaker view, seeing only me next to the slideshow, then click on the speaker view button near the upper right part of your screen. Now, near the top center, find and click on the button called View Options. You should get a short pull-down menu. At the bottom of the pull-down menu is an option called Side-by-Side Mode. Click on that. Then adjust the proportion of the slideshow and me as you wish. We recommend making the slideshow 2/3 of your screen. Remember, you are in control of the size of both the speaker and the slideshow images. We welcome you to our community with humility and courage. Born of our history, we are called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community where all souls are welcome as blessings and the human family lives whole and reconciled. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lit the flame within us and the community. Before we start the hymn, let me remind you to leave yourselves muted. This technology does not sync everyone precisely when speaking or singing together. We know it does not feel the same as when we are together, but we want you and whoever is with you to sing with Jan and Mary as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. So let's sing the opening hymn, Just as Long as I Have Breath, number 6.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they asked what
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We are glad you have joined us this morning. As a Unitarian Universalist community, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation inviting speakers from different religions, traditions, and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak in our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest to our community that connect with the UU7 principles. Today's service centers around the first principle. We affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Reverence and respect for human nature is at the core of Unitarian Universalist UU faith. We believe that all the dimensions of our being carry the potential to do good. We celebrate the gifts of being human, our intelligence and capacity for observation and reason, our senses and abilities to appreciate beauty, our creativity, our feelings and emotions. We cherish our bodies as well as our souls. We can use our gifts to offer love, to work for justice, to heal injury, to create pleasure for ourselves and for others. My name is Diane DeMarco, and I am your worship associate this morning. I would like to extend a special welcome to today's gifts and visitors. We're glad you've joined us this morning under these challenging circumstances. If you are not on our mailing list, please visit our website at www.uuccambria.org. That was uuccambria.org, so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. And a reminder, if you wish to see this or any of our past Zoom services, again, recordings of all these services can be found on the UUCC website as well. The membership committee invites non-members to consider becoming a member of our community. Please contact Janet Cooper or a board member if you are interested. Thank you. Finally, you are all welcome to stay after the service this morning for a question and answer session with Rebecca. She will be happy to answer questions about today's topic. Now, let us recite the affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. We set aside this time for any short announcements that would be of interest to our UU community members and friends. Please keep your items short and to the point. For any items that need more explanation, please call or email the person after the service to be respectful of everyone's time. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand by clicking on the raise button near the lower right of your participant's window. When I call your name, click the unmute me button near the lower left of the participant's window and then speak. Janet, you may unmute yourself and speak.
That's Jan.
There you go. We see you now and we hear you.
Us?
Yeah.
I think she means Jan.
I think Jan.
Yeah, I think you mean.
Oh, okay. Jan, yes, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. A couple people have asked me about the Martin Luther King talk that I gave, and it's not a Zoom service, but I think if Lori will back me up on this, that she did post it on our website, so that's available as well.
Thank you, Jan, for your announcement. Lori, you may unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah, I did post that on the website, so you can see Jan's talk there. I was announcing on Saturday, June 27th at 4 o'clock, we're going to have our first ever online auction. You'll be able to bid on items right from the comfort of your own home. We have lots of services and items donated to bid on, and there'll be a catalog of them emailed out to you later. We'll be able to find out some of our members' talents, such as Jan Calmer's cooking talent with their donation of homemade pasta and homemade meatballs with a box of Barilla spaghetti to go with it for a delicious dinner, or Anita Hushberg's expertise at speaking French, and she's donated 3 French lessons. There are lots of other wonderful auction items, so this should be an exciting new way to have an auction.
Thank you, Lori, for your announcement. Mary Ann, you may unmute yourself and speak.
I am so thrilled to tell you that, you know, the scholarship committee that we have and the work that we do for these kids is really paying off. Martha Gomez Mora graduated from Cuesta with 6 associate degrees in 2 years, and she's going to UCLA. She had academic honors all semesters and is all state champ in soccer. So go scholarship kids.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Randy, you may unmute yourself and speak.
Tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock, there will be a Zoom meeting for the worship committee members, and anybody else, if you want to join us, you're welcome to participate. But again, tomorrow at 5, Zoom meeting for the worship committee.
If they want to come to the meeting and they aren't on the committee already, should they contact
No,
you? How do they get an invitation?
That's a good point. If you're interested in joining the meeting, please just send me an email and I will make sure you get the invite as well. And I hope there's a way that we can actually post it on the website, but I'm not sure. But just if you're interested in joining the meeting tomorrow night, send me an email. Okay.
Thank you, Randy, for your announcement. Next week, Reverend Deborah Streeter presents Our Lives as Told by Water. Sharing together some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer as a faith community. We invite you to share the milestones that are deeply felt as part of your personal life. But please be mindful and considerate of all who come to worship with us this morning. The collective flames of these candles also embody all the joys and sorrows which may have gone unspoken today, but are deeply felt in this community. First reading, the words of Paul Harvey at the 1961 dedication of Rogue Valley Manor, a premier continuing care retirement community in Medford, Oregon. Quote, if there are 3 architectural monuments by which our post-war United States will be remembered, they are these: the bowling alley, the ultra-modern motel, and the home for retired folks. It's not easy from the outside to distinguish between these last 2. I slept there last night. There was music in the recreation room when I arrived, and the members of the manor were all having a ball. The ultra elegant accommodations are as modern as Miami's finest. The beautiful manor on the hill, 10 stories of fine rooms and facilities for fun, is available to anybody with a little nest egg and a Social Security number income. Let us now join in a time of meditation, of prayer, and of silence. Let us seek the quiet and calm, laying aside our struggles. And in the silence, may there be a reverence in our hearts a thankfulness within our spirit, and a deepened understanding of the meaning of our lives. Let us enter the stillness. Please come back now. Second reading. Where are we today in the eye of the COVID storm? About half of all COVID-19 deaths appear to be happening in care homes in Italy, Spain, France, Ireland, and Belgium, between 42% and 57%. In the United Kingdom, new cases have been reported in 232 of HC1 care homes, 2/3 of the total locations of the company. The delay in care home data collection is one of the bottlenecks in the effort to show the virus's spread, hampering officials' ability to target hotspots and send additional resources where they are needed. California deaths in elder care homes has increased to almost 50% from 40% on April 29th. Please join now in singing Blessed Spirit of My Life, number 86.
Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with a vision. Clear my mind of fear and confusion when my thoughts flow restlessly. Let peace find a home in me. Spirit of great mystery, hear the still small voice in me. Help me live with wordless creed as I comfort those in need. Fill me with compassion, be the source of my intuition. Then, when life is done with me, let love be my legacy.
Thank you, Mary. That was beautiful. Today's sermon addresses the following of the UU7 principles. Principle 1, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And Principle 2, we affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Today's sermon by Rebecca Hendricks is titled, Love in the Time of COVID-19. Rebecca and Ted have lived in Cambria for 5 years, after 30 years in San Jose, where Ted was a high school art teacher, and she traveled as a corporate consultant and trainer. Rebecca loves taking voice lessons with Jan Callner, singing with Lyra in Cambria Chorale, and playing the handbells. She also spends time knitting, scrapbooking, and making cards. After the service, Rebecca will be available for any questions you might have. Rebecca.
I have always loved to sort and organize things. I started scrapbooking when I was 6 years old, laying out pages with cards, movie stubs, and newspaper articles, gluing them in rows with care, and writing captions with a well-sharpened pencil. From 7th through 12th grade, I kept a gridded chart in my closet with every skirt, dress, blouse, and sweater listed on the left side and every school date across the top. I kept track of when I wore each item and in what combination, though no pants for girls back in those days. I love to categorize yarn, thread, fabric, paper, stickers, almost as much as I enjoy the actual knitting, sewing, and card making. Back in 2007, I realized people actually made a living being professional organizers. I had been an internal human resources professional and then an independent consultant, but both paths had required travel 2 to 4 weeks a month. At that point, Ted and I were exploring a way to get me off the road after 20 years as our daughter entered high school. Working in professional organizing appealed to me, and it wouldn't require travel. So I attended workshops, I joined the National Association of Professional Organizers, created marketing materials, and connected with people who were in the business. I loved my first clients who needed downsizing and organizing assistance. But then the 2007 economy headed straight to the bottom of the ocean, and few folks were willing to pay hourly wages for organizing, no matter what their income or needs. With very little work on the horizon, I heard about a senior relocation company out of Los Angeles that was looking for someone to manage their Bay Area business. I would be an area coordinator and a move manager, working with elderly clients transitioning from their homes to a retirement community. Now, I have to be honest here and say that I have never felt a calling to serve the senior community. As a child, I made weekly visits to small-town nursing homes with my mother. I dutifully behaved when my family visited aged acquaintances, and I held polite conversations with many older people who came to our house for Sunday dinners. But it didn't develop into any interest into working with folks of older generations. So as I dived into my move manager duties, I didn't give this much thought, being grateful for a paying position for which I was well qualified. I look back now and I have deep gratitude for that opportunity during difficult financial times. How I looked forward to that first knock at the door when I would meet someone. How I loved hearing about their family, their treasures, their hopes and fears, and how privileged I felt to be there for them at this pivotal time in their lives. Isn't it interesting how opportunities and choices can really change your life? After 14 months, I realized I wanted to earn more and offer additional services to senior folks moving to a new place. So 3 employees joined me, and kind of a kitchen table cottage industry, we blossomed into a senior relocation company, providing hands-on solutions for moving and organizing, specializing in seniors who had found a senior home or a future home in a retirement community. The activities that we provided were providing assistance for planning, sorting, and downsizing, doing all the coordination with the new location, the movers, any other vendors, packing and unpacking, including artwork, china, crystal, bathrooms, everything with all supplies provided. Resettling all belongings, including arranging furniture, hanging artwork, making beds, and so on. And we would provide every client an extensive guide for donations, antique appraisal, estate liquidation, and so on. Our services were typically offered by the retirement community, which made marketing great. They would receive, say, 40 hours of creating comfort rather than a month of rent or other incentives. Existing residents would often see us working in our aprons and say, "Boy, I sure wish you would have been around when I moved in." In addition, we provided a variety of solutions to anyone: reorganizing residential spaces, creating more efficient spaces in home offices, working with people with hoarding or chronic disorganization issues, and developing fun and useful places for projects and crafts. Services also included garage and house clean-out assistance, online selling, and concierge services. And we loved it. But apart from our skills and efficiency, our most important tools were empathy, active listening, patience, creativity, and love. We created a special relationship with each client at what might be the most challenging time in his or her life. Our work with clients became far more than schedules, boxes, hammers, and extra packages of light bulbs. It was the stories they told about their house, involvement of their friends and families, decisions around what to keep and what to bring, and our holding their hands as they said goodbye and hello over and over during our time together. Setting us apart from other moving services was being a woman-owned company, appreciated by many single female clients. We were, and still might be, the only company that created reusable, washable packing bags and sheets in lieu of pallets of white paper. During the initial visit, furniture was measured, a floor plan was drafted on a magnet board, estimates for boxes, staffing, and supplies were made, and a moving calendar with tasks was shared with the client. We helped them plan for a new living area, choosing a smaller bedroom set, replacing a stereo system with Bose speakers. Back in those days, moving out a 200-pound TV for a flat screen on the wall. We also educated them about their new living environment, where they wouldn't need 20 boxes of seasonal decorations, 3 card tables, 12 folding chairs, and a workshop of tools and equipment. Packing was completed in one day, during which the client could enjoy time with friends or family and return to a move-prepared home with essentials left for their last night. I would meet the movers bright and early on moving day, again allowing our clients to have a day of freedom before meeting us at the facility mid-afternoon for furniture placement. My move day challenges included packing up potted plants, TVs, fridge and freezers, and transporting the occasional oxygen tank or family pet. Upon arrival at the new community, our movers would empty their truck and my staff would gear up to magically unpack and resettle belongings by the end of the afternoon. Bookshelves, curio cabinets, pantries, and closets would be recreated as closely as possible to their former home. We took pictures as we packed. So if Frances stored her tea bags by the microwave and mug stand, that's where they would be in her new kitchen. We like to say that the resident would come home from dinner where lamps were lit, the bed was made, food was in the fridge, art was on the wall. All they had to do was go to bed. It was with great happiness and pride that we would see people walk into their new home and burst into tears. They had no idea that we could create a place in which they immediately felt at home. Of course, my favorite part of the job was spending time with wonderful people, all the stories to tell and the concerns to share. Some of my clients were quite noteworthy. Gordy Soltow, a former 49ers football player, Charlie Towns, who was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for the maser and the laser, and Maggie G, one of the first 2 Chinese women to serve in WASP, Women Air Force Service Pilots, in World War II. She talked about the dangers of training male pilots who would shoot real bullets at her plane over the skies of Oklahoma, and then her pride at meeting President Obama when he honored the surviving WASPs at the White House. I loved sussing out how each person felt about the upcoming move, if family connections were helping or hindering, what they weren't telling me, and what personal approach would be a good fit as we moved forward. I prided myself on honesty. For example, on moving day, they were usually told by their family, "Don't worry, today will go fine. Just relax, it'll be fun. It won't be bad at all." I would assess their anxiety and be willing to say, "This might be a terrible day, and I will be there with you." And I can practically guarantee that if today is awful, tomorrow will be a little better, and the next day will be a little better, and so on. So let's get through this together. It is a major life event to move from a home to a retirement community or home care facility, full of anxiety, fears, logistics, and financial concerns. Currently, these facilities are at the center of the pandemic maelstrom, and when COVID-19 is reasonably under control, there will be a return to folks considering a move, albeit uneasily. Some of the questions in many minds are the following, and they overarch what I'll be talking about this morning. What are residents, families, and facility staff doing to cope during these precarious times? How do you decide whether to leave a family member in a long-term situation or to bring them home? What will be important in the future when evaluating a potential retirement residence? And what other choices are out there? The COVID numbers focus primarily on assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, hospice, and rehab facilities, although independent living residences certainly have increased risks, especially if these provide continuing care services. I have friends who live at Rogue Valley Manor in Medford, Oregon, and they write about sheltering in place in their cottage with meals delivered, no access to on-site activities, with management regular reporting on what actions are being taken to reduce the risk of being exposed to the virus. So what are residents, family, and staff doing during the current crisis? I love hearing about the creative activities in care facilities, hallway bingo, balcony exercises, distribution of electronic tablets to allow all residents to communicate with friends and family, delivery of puzzles, craft projects, and books, not to mention, they probably all need Andy, lessons on Zoom and Skype for church services, lectures, concerts, and other activities. Management and staff are also gravely concerned, as you well know, about having appropriate equipment and ensuring that the illness statistics of their community are included in official numbers. Then comes the second question. Since few people are moving into retirement facilities these days, a current quandary is, should I take my mom or dad out of their care home? This is a question that frightened Canadians with parents in long-term care homes and assisted living facilities are losing sleep over for good reason. The following comments come from an article by Al Donato in Ottawa, Canada. Quote, "We are well aware that the elderly population is among the most vulnerable for developing serious and deadly coronavirus complications. As of April 14th, almost half the deaths in Canada happened in long-term care homes." So how do you make such a difficult decision? Some families can provide supervision, activities, and in-home care to meet a senior's care needs, but removal isn't an option for many families. In many households, cramped spaces make physical distancing of self-isolation impossible. Many accessibility needs like mobility devices or assisted technology may not be available at home either. Families may have children at home who could be asymptomatic carriers, or families may be financially strapped because of pandemic-related job loss. Whether a family member stays or is discharged, there are risks taken with either decision. worrying about the care and safety of an absent family member without being able to visit, or sacrificing time and energy to care for someone at home. Obviously, a major impairment for families is not to feel guilty. Seniors go into long-term care because they weren't able to safely and happily be taken care of otherwise. A pandemic doesn't make that any easier. This next slide is, I know, difficult to read. It is a superb one page of a 6-page questionnaire containing the common pros and cons for should I bring someone in a long-term home care situation home, or should I leave them there? It asks questions about the senior's care needs and how well COVID-19 can be prevented wherever they stay. This page gives you an idea of just one of 6 sets of inquiries for consideration. There's no right or wrong answer to any of the questions posed. Instead of a scoring system, the tools guide families to assess their own abilities to provide care. I've done some looking, even checked with my sister, the public health professional, and I didn't find anything like this, although I'm sure it exists in entities in America. One of the advantages, of course, of national health care is these things can be countrywide and very, very available to people. And I found this a wonderful walkthrough that would allow families the ability to have these questions to answer and then try to make the best decision possible. Very impressive. So how will seniors and their families make decisions in the post-world of COVID-19? There will always be family members requiring long-term care, respite or post-surgical rehab, and others ready to move into an independent living community. And this will be during ongoing concerns about the continuation and/or return of the virus. Currently, there are a myriad of companies who provide referrals and resources to help you locate a place for someone to live. You've probably seen advertisements for A Place for Mom, Senior Seasons. Those kinds of companies are focused on locating a residence that is safe, appropriate, and affordable for an inquiring individual. But now, in addition to asking about food, one of the most important considerations I might tell you, activities, field trips, local transportation, apartment layout, location amenities, and other considerations, it will be very important to ask in detail about safety protocols regarding highly contagious situations. So what will be important in the future when evaluating a retirement residence? Some of them listed are isolation facilities, written safety protocols that should be available to residents and their families, cleaning and sanitizing procedures in living quarters and common areas, availability and enforcement of personal protective equipment for staff and residents, readmission policy, should a resident leave during the health crisis and later choose to return. Overall rate of staff turnover, ratio of staff to residents, and policy for hazard pay during emergency situations. Vaccination requirements for incoming residents, staff, and visitors as recommended. Current financial stability of the residence itself, looking at the profit or not-for-profit status, also the status of their current foundation or endowment monies, and detailed plans for responding to a COVID-like crisis, food management, security, visitation limitations, alternate recreational activities, and so on. So we know quite a bit about retirement communities, and I know probably more than the average bear. But what other choices are out there? A 2019 study conducted by AARP found that 9 of 10 older Americans preferred to live in their homes as long as possible. Aging in place allows seniors to do just that, remodeling or refitting your home to suit senior-specific issues such as decreased mobility or impaired eyesight. Think improved lighting, a walk-in shower, wider doorways, ramps, grab bars, or a first floor bedroom. This retrofitting is also called universal design, meaning building or remodeling to accommodate all ages and abilities. And there are companies providing home health care and home care professionals for seniors who wish to age in place in their own home. Visiting Angels, Bright Star, there are many others you might hear advertised about on the media. However, an alternative to traditional aging in place is the village community model. It combines aging in place with the type of interdependent living that helps make aging alone for longer possible. It's an innovative do-it-yourself take on what life in traditional American villages used to offer: trusted relationships with neighbors and the wider community. A nonprofit grassroots solution that's governed by its members, villages have become the way of life for thousands of urban and suburban seniors across the United States, designed to provide social connections and practical assistance. The village concept began in Boston's Beacon Hill neighborhood in 2001. As more villages formed, the Village to Village Network was founded in 2010 to help communities establish new villages and manage them, and to grow the village movement overall. So the village community model, simply stated, is that members help each other, service providers provide additional help, and social events keep all connected. A village is first and foremost a community that relies on the passion, talents, and expertise of the people in it. In the model, older members of a neighborhood or a group of neighborhoods are linked with one another and with a network of volunteer and paid services. The members help each other. If you're sick, other villagers will visit and bring you what you need, and vice versa. Service providers contribute additional help. Need to see a doctor? A volunteer driver will take you. When your sink clogs, the village will send a trusted repair person who services all the village members. And social events keep you all connected. There are now over 300 villages in the US, and each is governed by a board of directors made up of members. Members pay dues for paid staff, often a single coordinator, who aim to meet all the villagers' needs by sourcing, screening, and delivering services: home maintenance and repairs, technology help, health and wellness services, transportation, light housekeeping, and shopping assistance. We don't know what the post-pandemic world will look like, just as we can't foretell what our own world of health and abilities will be down the road. But there are innovative ideas and choices out there to think about. Just as my 3 partners and I found a marvelous niche market in creating comfort, there will be even more businesses focused on senior living in this new world of pandemic reality. And at its best, it will require empathy, kindness, and love, ensuring that seniors receive the safety, respect, and care that they deserve.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was wonderful. Very interesting. Thank you. Normally, at this time, we receive offerings from our congregants. However, due to the virtual format of this service, we invite you to make your offering in one of the methods shown on the slideshow. Enlarge the slideshow tile to see how to do this. These methods will also be posted in the newsletter and on the UUCC website itself. And please make note of this. We appreciate your making the effort to sending an offering. Thank you. a family and we belong to the world. That song and those lyrics were written by Jan Kallner, one of my favorite songs. Our thanks for any gifts given and received for the work of this community. Now let us sing the doxology.
Let's start again. From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land by every tongue.
That
Diane,
again.
you're,
Please join in singing the closing hymn for the beauty of the earth, number 21.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour, of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
And now let us recite the valediction. The flames of the chalice and these candles will no longer burn today, but the light of the flame within our hearts continues to shine brightly, illuminating the love felt in our community. After the benediction, you are welcome to stay on as Rebecca will address any questions you might have. And now for our benediction.
Let me close with words from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. For age is opportunity no less than youth itself, though in another dress. And as the evening twilight fades away, the sky is filled with stars, invisible by day.
Please move your arrow to the top right of your screen to find the gallery view button and click on it now to see everyone.